Banking has been around several thousand years, come a long way from the temples of the ancient world, but their basic business hasn't changed much over time. But in recent decades, digitalization has helped the bank to transform rapidly. Solarisbank is a leading digital banking-as-a-service platform in Europe. It enables non-financial players to offer financial services, giving the consumers more options for how and when to pay for their purchases. Thanks for joining our session. Well, good morning.
Guten Morgen, Jan.
Good to see you.
We finally meet.
We finally met. I feel like I met you, but actually I realized that we've been doing a lot of Zooms with each other.
Yes, but the video conferencing was really good. It feels like we were sitting in front of each other. Yeah, we actually, I didn't meet any of my new investors during the C round. It was all via video conferencing. If you would have asked me 12 months ago, can we do a financing round only via video conferencing, I probably would have had my doubts, but it did work out really well. Thanks to technology.
Yes, I am very happy that we can join this investment round. I know during pandemic it's a bit nerve-wracking because it couldn't expect what could happen, but it turned out to be oversubscribed, right? So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's an outstanding outcome and voting for the confidence on the business model that you built. And my understanding, based on our due diligence as a part of our investment process, was really looking at how the banking is changing and how Solarisbank, your bank, is trying to make an impact in enabling the digitalization of a consumer experience. You're enabling anybody that are out there to enable banking as a service capabilities. So tell us about the disruption that are going on and how you're enabling these companies to become what I call customer-centric services that are far better than what could be done without having your service.
From a Solaris perspective, we call that contextual finance. And that basically means that you bring the financial service into the context of a bigger solution. And the driver, again, of that solution is a change in consumer behavior. You know, if you think back, there were examples of contextual banking already 20, 30 years ago. And the typical example of that would be the financing of a car. So you had a car, the consumer wanted to have that car, but not everybody had the 30,000 euros or dollars of cash to buy that car. So you provided financing solutions. And that in the end meant that cars were only sold with a monthly rate. Now, consumer behavior changed again, because it's not about owning a car for a long period, it's owning a car for a very short period. You know, if you look around in Berlin, many people actually they rent a car for half an hour, and that means the ticket sizes of processing have come down significantly. And that is really the fundamental change, because everybody can make profit of a 30,000 euro loan, but very few people can make money out of maybe a 10 euro loan or a 10 euro payment. And that is really where technology clearly kicks in. And from a Solaris perspective, that's why we founded Solaris. That's why it was built, in order to facilitate payments and loans and any type of financial service on a digital basis. The key objective of Solaris is to provide an infrastructure that allows the seamless integration of financial solutions into other ecosystems. And what drives us is, of course, we want to have the best product at the best price with the best service. And to give you an idea about what does that mean, you know, let's talk about an account. You know, which bank does actually know what the cost of an account per year is? I could give you some data points of research that we have done, and I would say it would not be a surprise if you would end up at 100 euros per account per year. So from a Solaris perspective, we want to reduce these costs to less than 10 euros per year, or less than 1 euro per month. And you can just imagine the type of disruption that is possible with that type of cost structure.
So most people think bank is bank, but actually I think what I realized is that there are traditional banks, of course, the physical that we know of, and then there's new banks like N26 and others that are providing digital banking side. And really what you are doing, Solarisbank, is about infrastructure, banking as a service to anybody. You're not picking any winners. You want to have many customers and have them provide their options.
Well, ideally, we do want to pick the winners.
Uh-huh.
But who are the winners? I think the winners are those that have extremely client-centric value propositions. And if you look at yourself, what you really experience or what you want to experience is a seamless, integrated, digital, real-time solution. So if you want to consume something, you want to have it, and you want to have it now and as convenient and digital from a delivery perspective as possible. And I think the first ones that really caught on that type of trend were some of the tech ecosystems. You know, you look at, for example, now during pandemic, Amazon and the growth that they have experienced, but a lot of other digital models as well. And obviously, they come from a client value proposition that has a financial solution possibly integrated. And that integration is what Solaris can facilitate. It's not about providing a banking solution to a consumer goods solution. It's about a financial solution integrated in the consumer event.
Okay, so clearly banking as a service infrastructure is very exciting, but what regulatory requirements do you have to meet to become one? It's not just for anybody, is it?
Yes, we basically have to fulfill all the regulatory requirements of a full bank. We are regulated by German BaFin, by EZB, and therefore the Solaris, although we perceive ourselves as a tech company, we are a bank with all the requirements that any other bank has to fulfill.
So very interesting. So you do have to meet the traditional banking requirement, but using tech stack, providing more efficient service, and your goal is to reduce the account cost experience by 10% of a traditionally what it charge with a much better experience.
Yes, I think we have a lot of advantages because we were founded in 2016 on the basis of complete new technologies. We don't have any of the legacy problems that the traditional players have. And that obviously allows us then to look at some of the traditional problems in a completely new way. If we look at some of the KYC, the identification processes, we can innovate that identification process that in a typical branch, sometimes for companies can even take up to 2 or 3 weeks. We can digitalize that and make it a process that from a consumer perspective happens in 5 to 10 minutes and from a business perspective in less than 24 hours. And that's a regulatory requirement which we have completely re-engineered, and with the help of technology we have made it I think a very customer-friendly experience.
There are so much data already out there about us. And if we can be able to, using data integration with the AI, we should be able to have a much better contextual knowledge about us, right? In the process, you become much more efficient, and you're providing that advantage to consumers for their advantage.
I think from a Solaris perspective, because of the high degree of regulation, we have to keep the data, I would say, particularly protected and safe. Of course, GDPR and all these things are in place. But as you said, once that data is in the safekeeping of the Solaris platform, we can use it amongst all the partners. And that, of course, is a big advantage then of the Solaris ecosystem of partners like Samsung or Amex or BP or Penta, Contest, and Trade Republic tomorrow, all the partners, because once you have the identity once created, you can actually leverage it amongst the different partners.
So clearly the privacy and data security are the two most paramount parts of creating trust in any banking or any mobile experience, which we all share. How robust are they, and how do you make sure they're secure? How do you make sure the private policy of the personal data is protected?
Once we set up a partnership, while the partner is offering the KYC process, the regulatory responsibilities completely with Solaris. And of course, we then have all the audits in place that make sure that the customer data is protected and GDPR rules are fulfilled. On top of that, we do a lot of pen testing of the applications that our partners use to make sure that they are, from a cybersecurity perspective, as protected as possible. We are actually continuously updating our cybersecurity internal policies, because I do believe that probably going forward, cyber theft is probably one of the biggest threats that we're facing. And so to really stay ahead of the curve in terms of security requires a continuous effort.
So if you kind of project out the future, do you see yourself being a next PayPal type of company? Or what are you trying to build if you project, let's say, 5 years out?
Well, that's a difficult question. Obviously, the last 5 years or 4 years of Solaris have been a real exciting journey, and the growth that we're experiencing is phenomenal. We almost double each year right now, and along with that come a lot of challenges. The organizational growth and making sure you keep your best talent, you hire the best talent, you make your customers happy, and it's a struggle, but I think we have a clear goal. We want to basically make an impact to the financial services world by being the best banking as a service provider in the world. And that is, I think, if you want to look at it from a number perspective, we're serving right now about, in continental Europe, excluding the UK, about 500 million, a market of 500 million consumers. If we can have a single-digit market share of accounts that we provide for those Europeans, I think that would be a tremendous success.
So tell me about your KPI. When you say that number of accounts, and it's a banking as a service, so how do you get paid? What's the business model? I'm sure a lot of business people are interested in knowing a bit about, you don't have to give all the details, but at least in general, how do you get paid for service you provide?
It's very simple. Per account, we would charge on a monthly basis. And if you look at transactions, there's cost when you look at SEPA transactions. So there's only a small percentage that you can charge on that. If you look at cards, there's the interchange, which one can charge. And then if there's liquidity products like the Samsung Split Pay solution, which is a cash management functionality that is allowing you to manage your cash flow on the basis of credits, that is then an interest rate that is charged. So I think the same components that have been in place already since the Medici invented banking, but from a percentage and from a scale perspective, it's very, very tiny amount.
It enabled what I call the digital mobile experience by having micro-fragmented payment experiences now. Yeah.
Correct.
Very good. It's a very exciting time, and I believe this is actually a huge market, right? Because banking is one of the largest market. I don't know how big the banking industry is. Something I read it like $3 trillion to $4 trillion. And it's a big numbers. And as those numbers are transitioning into digital bank, it's given opportunity for people like Solarisbank to build and enable all players in consumer-facing apps to provide some of these experiences. Yeah. In a way, we're all distributors for you.
Yes, I think sometimes my colleagues, they come to me and say, oh, there's a new competitor forming, and, do we need to be worried? And all that I say is the market is so large, and we're looking at it from a completely new and different perspective. So the growth is not only for us, but even if there would be 10 competitors and 10 Solarisbanks, the potential would still be big enough for all of us to succeed and make a very successful business.
So I'm really excited about our partnership between what we can do with our phone capabilities, with the 2 billion users of Samsung phones that never really had this, what I call consumer financial services, whether it's a credit card, whether it is loans or fractionalized payment systems. These things are all happening in other sites. Now, thanks to you, we have an opportunity to build a service that can enable one place providing the total service for consumers' needs, so consumer doesn't have to go to different sites to do that. And I think also there is an advantage in two other elements in my view. One is around identity management. Once they're in it, then you know you can stay in because it's safe. The second part is that I think we can also help them to integrate data and service that can give you full service around your consumer need. And I think these are some very exciting stuff that we can work together on.
I think that is really the excitement about our cooperation. I think from a Samsung perspective, it is a natural evolution of the traditional services of telephone into additional financial solutions. And with the Solaris Corporation, it enables to include payment functionality, financing functionality into the mobile device, which from a consumer perspective is of course a very nice convenience factor.
So thank you for your time. Wishing you really good success in driving this change. And I look forward to seeing our great partnership to be announced very soon.
Yes, thank you very much, Young. It was a pleasure.